Hello everyone, thank you for turning on this video. My name is Divine Chamukong. We are somewhere in the Washington DC metropolis conducting this chat. But you must be asking yourself, what is it all about? Well, something very special is about to happen in the Washington DC metropolis. Bali people are almost at the verge of unleashing what you have never seen before, what we as a community have never witnessed before. What is it? You keep asking yourself by now. Don't worry. Stay tuned. I'm here with the president of the Eastern chapter of the Bali Cultural Association, BCA USA, in our area, and we'll be talking a lot and answering some of those questions that bother you. Don't go away. The questions will be pointed, the answers will be revealing. We're about to start. Don't go away. Here with me, as I told you, is somebody who will be taking some very tough questions. We're not here to do public relations. I don't do interviews like that. I am with Dr. Gabriel Njinimbot. He doesn't like to be called Dr. Gabriel Njinimbot, but that's who he is. Nigebi, as you are known in our community, thank you for accepting to take some sorted questions from me.
Thank you.
Now, there is this event coming up which is going to be an explosive event in the Washington DC metropolis. The first question I want to ask you in your capacity as the president of Eastern chapter of BCA USA, who constitutes this chapter we hear about?
Thank you, Divine. First of all, let me use this opportunity to say Happy New Year to all Bali people in this community. Eastern chapter is a constitution of all Bali people in the Washington DC area, regardless of which Ndakum you belong to. As because in the Bali community, we have different Ndakums. Eastern chapter is for Bali people. It's made up of Bali people, and it's for all Bali people.
How is it going to be for all Bali people? It's Eastern chapter of BCA USA. And to the best of my knowledge, not every Bali member has membership of BCA USA. So how would you call every Bali man and woman member of the Eastern chapter of an association they do not have a membership of?
So if you look at the name, BCA is Bali Cultural Association. When it was born, it wasn't meant for just certain class of people or for a certain group of people. It's open to all Bali people, regardless of which family you belong to. We don't discriminate by profession. It's open to anyone who has the willingness to join the organization and do what BCA was designed to do, which is a very family-oriented organization. It's an organization that is geared towards the development of certain projects in Bali, an organization that's open to everyone. So it's not limited to some class of people, some group of people. If anyone wants to join BCA USA, you're free to do so. Now, Eastern chapter in this case, when we started organizing the cultural night, it wasn't just meant for BCA USA members. It's open to all Bali people. We don't censor if you belong to the association or not, or if you have paid your dues. No, it's open to each and every person in this community. As a matter of fact, it's also open to non-Bali people. So the cultural night is for everyone. It's not just for Eastern chapter members. We don't let you in based on membership. We just want to bring this community together such that at some point we all can come together as one people, as one big family, and enjoy ourselves and show off our culture. And this is the third time we're doing it. So we're expecting that every member of this community here in Bali should be part of this exceptional night.
You say show off our culture, and it's quite true. I mean, Balis that we have some of the most luxuriant cultures in all of the northwest region of Cameroon. Usually when you come up with an initiative like this, some people default to accusing you of of having some hidden agendas. What is in the fine print there you may not be telling me here?
Listen, I have to tell you this. We Bali people originally are very welcoming people. And, you know, here in DC, sometimes we're tempted to divide and slice and dice ourselves into the respective ndakum that we have. But if you look, historically, we all from Bali have one DNA. We all are from Bali, and when we get out of Bali and are in a place like the United States, we shouldn't try to divide ourselves in any way, shape, or form. You know, in science, sometimes we said someone with a blood group, blood type A, cannot donate blood to someone who has a blood type B. But if you ask my opinion, we all in Bali have one blood group, and that one blood group is a simple fact that we all come from one city or one village. And that's why I actually think that when it comes to a culture like this, you know, the cultural strength that Bali Nyonga has is not self-executing. It's a culture that if we don't come out as a people and show what we have, you know, the strength that we have culturally, you know, cannot be seen. You know for a fact that in the northwestern region of Cameroon, as well as here in the diaspora, whenever there's something Bali, people come out to see it. And the simple reason is because of the fact that all of us come out as one people and show what we have. You know, I always say this. We have people in our community who are very good at playing xylophones, who have exceptional voices in singing and playing traditional equipment, traditional drums and things like that. But if we don't come out as a people and play these drums and sing these songs, our culture at some point would lose the strength it has. And not only that, our children, the young generation, who can they learn from if we don't come out and show off what we have as a community? So I said show off because truly we need to show these things off. Not only that, someday you and I will not be here. And who would be there to, you know, show off, or who will be hand down this tradition of culture if we don't do this now as one people? I mean, when was the last time we came out as a people in Bali to dance our lela? I know there's some things that have happened in the past that we cannot come out there and do it. But while we're here, I think it's just time and it's appropriate for us to, you know, do things like this.
Now tell me, this is not the first time that Bali people are coming out to show off the magnitude, the depth, the scope of their very rich culture. What in the past have you learned from to build on what you are organizing now, to make it better? How is this one going to be different from what we're used to seeing?
Listen, 3 years ago, if I told you that we would be organizing our cultural night every year, some people might have thought that, you know, we're setting our dreams a little too high. But just like everything else, when you start up with baby steps, you learn in that process. I could tell you that the first cultural night we started 3 years ago wasn't the best, but it gave us the foundation, it laid the foundation for certain things to be done the best way. As a matter of fact, the very first year we went in there to start the cultural night, we played all the traditional songs from a CD, if you remember that. The second year, we did it using our traditional drums and traditional, instruments. Now, we've learned a lot from that, and the mistakes that we made during the first year, we didn't make it in the second year, and the mistakes that happened in the first and second year is not going to happen on March 9th of this year. So it's a learning process, and I bet you 5 years, 10 years from today, it would most likely be like, you know, what you see at home when we did Lela every year.
Thank you for those clarifications. Now, ni Gebinjin, but various Ndakums have been organizing separate events, you know, Ndakum A, Ndakum B, C, and D, and we are many of us here. Why has it become necessary for Eastern Chapter to organize a one and all, an englobing, you know, cultural night when each Ndakum could well do its own and still do it well?
Look, Eastern Chapter is not here to stop each Ndakum from doing what they want to do. As a matter of fact, when those Ndakums are organizing the cultural evenings, Eastern Chapter supports those nights the best it can. And we're not here to stop or tell what those Ndakums should do. This is not the role of Eastern Chapter. But one thing I can tell you for a fact is that Eastern Chapter is here to bring people together. Not saying that we're divided as such, but we organize an inclusive cultural evening and invite all the Takums, everybody, because, you know, when each Ndakum organizes a cultural night, it's specific to that Ndakum, and they open their doors for everyone. Now, Eastern Chapter is not a Ndakum. It is an umbrella organization that's open to everyone. So we organize this knowing that, you know, other Ndakums do their own cultural nights, and, you know, we invite everyone. We, again, just think it's absolutely necessary for us as a chapter of the national organization to do this once every year and invite not just people from within the Washington, D.C. area, but people from, you know, all over the country. And we would support each Ndakum whenever they want to organize whichever event. So Eastern Chapter does theirs, and they invite all the Takums as well.
You're the president of the BCA USA Eastern Chapter.
Correct.
I know you personally for many years, and I know you as a very determined somebody who, when determined to do something, or who, when you want to do something, I mean, you want to do it to the best possible. You want it to be the best.
Thank you.
Now, this event on the 9th and on the 10th, what is it you've put in place to reflect your determination in organizing things that succeed?
So first of all, we picked those two dates. In the past 2 years, we never had a black tie night. But as a community, we have to grow by adding things that would make those type of events more interesting. So the number one thing we did was adding a Friday. And this Friday, essentially, people are encouraged to come out well dressed in black tie, and we would treat them as what they actually are. We would treat them, give them VIP treatments. The food is catered. Drinks are provided. You don't have to spend any money in there while you're inside the hall. But what I have to tell you is that it is strictly on invitation. And when I say strictly on invitation, I don't want somebody to think that it's for a certain class of people, as some people think. It is open for everyone, as long as you pay a fee of $50. And I know some people have asked, so why do we have to charge people to get in $50 a piece? Now think about it. We asking you to pay this money not because we're trying to use it to fill up our bank accounts or make ourselves rich, but if you look at the expense of what it takes to organize something like this for 2 days, somehow you have to spend money. Now you have organizations outside of Eastern Chapter. They organize events and ask us to pay $100 a piece, and we go in there, pay for it, and they give us VIP treatment. Why don't we do this ourselves? But
what does somebody get for $50?
for 50 bucks. Look, number one, we're giving you a red carpet treatment. You walk in there. If you have a spouse, you're well dressed. We're gonna have someone walk you to your seat. We're gonna provide food. We're gonna provide drinks, and we have no kids around, so we're trying to make it very exclusive for adults, and we make sure that you have a good time. We have comedy. We have certain things that would entertain you, but the most important aspect of this night is community. It's the fact that we as a community take time off to sit with one another and have fun. We rarely do this. We work in this country 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now, when something happens to one of us, we will rush over there and cry or do whatever we have to do. But this is one night, it's just about fun. We need to do this once every so often as a community so that we can bond with each other. So besides the drinks and the food and all of that that you get from being part of that night, just the community aspect of it is what is very, very important for me. And I just think that if we can't get together as a community and start working on things like this right now by organizing this type of nights, a black tie night, a cultural night, or a community outreach, the bond that binds us as a community, we will lose them over time. And our children have nothing to copy. Our children have nothing to gain from the experience that comes out of all this whole thing that we're doing.
You talk about a black tie night during a Bali cultural festival.
Correct.
Both seem mutually exclusive. Somebody must be asking himself or scratching his head, black tie night? Since when did black tie night culture become part of the Bali culture?
So that's a very good question. And if this person is asking this question, hopefully they understand or realize that the black tie night is on a Friday and the cultural night is on a Saturday. And the reason is because sometimes you cannot mix culture with modernism. So what we did was we split this day to show up there in a black tie, as I said before, but then the cultural aspect of the weekend is on a Saturday, and there's certain things that we cannot do on Friday culturally that we can only do on Saturday. So we keep those two apart. But it's a good question, but we're not blending a black tie night and a cultural night, and that's why we're not doing it on the same day. So don't show up on a black tie night with a cultural outfit or on a cultural night with a black tie outfit.
Now you talk about black tie, I'm imagining guys. What are women to wear on a black tie night?
Fortunately, these women know how to take care of themselves. When you come out with your black tie and your spouse, if you have one, for those who have spouses, or the women as a whole, both the young and the young at heart, they know what to put on that night to match what the event is all about. Now, the Saturday night is given because they know exactly what to put on. They have their traditional outfits, they have their what they call sang, and they know what to do. So I wouldn't worry too much about these women because they know exactly what to do that night to take care of themselves.
You are president of the Eastern chapter. At the mere mention of the word or the phrase Eastern chapter, some people by default go into the opposition. Are you aware of the controversy the mere mention of the word or the words Eastern chapter could generate, especially as you're organizing an inclusive event? Why don't you just keep off that name or Eastern chapter and just do something all including Bali people or organized by the entire Bali people? Why the tag Eastern chapter?
It's a good question. Look, I have no issues identifying this event as an Eastern chapter event or organized by the Eastern chapter. And I have no issues identifying myself with Eastern chapter. And the simple reason is this. If we're going to be serious about developing our community, if we're going to be serious about coming together as a people, we should be careful when we cast certain organizations as bad organizations, or when we write certain organizations off as being corrupt or not being true to themselves or to the community. Because at the very end of the day, Eastern Chapter or BCA is nobody else but us. And you know, if people are so worried about the things that BCA USA is doing or Eastern Chapter is doing, and they're paranoid about the fact that perhaps the things that BCA USA or Eastern Chapter is doing is not correct. Listen, BCA USA is not the only organization that Bali community, us as a community have. We have a whole bunch of other organizations like Fenfed, and a whole host of organizations. Look, you don't have to be part of BCA USA. You change from what they are right now to see that there's some level of progress, or that Bali should reflect the 21st century. You don't have to be part of Eastern Chapter. Now, BCA USA, I can tell you, is not the most perfect organization. I'm sure that it has its own setbacks. It has its own flaws. But when we hide behind social media and say these things about Eastern Chapter, when we, probably most of them aren't true, it's better for people to take some time off and actually try to talk to these people one-on-one to be sure that what you're thinking about Eastern Chapter or BCA, or not just that, or Kumu Fenfed, because I'm pretty sure not just BCA, people have reservations about BCA USA. People do have reservations about Bandeka, Fenfed, and so on and so forth. Take some time off and talk to the people who organize these things. Because when you stand from a distance and throw stones, it's not very easy for you to realize the magnitude of what the organization is doing. And if you feel like Eastern Chapter is something to be scared of, or they're not doing what they're supposed to do, lace your shoes up and form an organization. Do whatever it takes for you to do, as long as it's improving some aspect, some economic aspect, some social aspect, some developmental aspect of Bali as a whole. You do not have to belong to Eastern, but I can tell you that as long as BCA USA exists, we will keep doing things to bring this community together. We will organize events. We would keep it transparent. We would ensure that, you know, the doors are open. If you have questions, come talk to me. Don't stay from a distance and make assumptions and just throw what's out there. Talk to someone in the BCA executive. These are human beings. These are ordinary people like you and I. But when you don't get close, it's very easy to, or very tempted to, you know, cast them as people who are not true to themselves, or are just out there to do certain things to benefit themselves, and you withdraw into your own little enclave, which, you know, is not a very good thing. It's not very productive to our economy.
Save the date. March 9 will be a black tie event. March 10 will be something that, after we have gone through it, Bali will be the envy of our metropolitan area. You should start by now keeping your traditional outfit. It will be one big night. And I'm talking about that big night, Nigebi. Who else are you inviting apart from Bali people?
So, we are in touch with other cultural organizations in the metropolis. The Mancon group, I'm talking to them. I know the president. Other groups like Batibo, we're also talking to them. And we, as time goes on, I know we're running out of time at this point, but we're trying to get people that are non-Balis to be part of us during this cultural night. Now, we have a lot of folks coming from out of town. It's not just people from the Washington, D.C. area. We have Bali people from Dallas, from Georgia, from Minnesota, from Oklahoma. You know, it's gonna be a big night, and we want to build on this and promote our culture and encourage everybody to come out.
Well, if other people are coming, what will be the language of communication? I mean, if somebody from Meta coming, or somebody from Banso, Mancun coming, what language will be used during the night, especially the cultural night?
Look, there are some aspects of Bali, and I think anybody who is from a village in Cameroon, there's some aspects of tradition that there's just no way you can say it better in a different language, or in a different language, or in English language. So I'm pretty sure that if people are visiting this event and they see us performing certain aspects of the tradition in our language, they would, most likely understand, why we are doing that.
Bali is a very vibrant community in our area, no doubt about that. I mean, people talk about how organized we are. People talk about how beautiful our traditions are. But we are not without challenges. As the president of the Bali Eastern chapter, what have you identified as some of the challenges which we as Bali people need to overcome?
Look, as a son of Bali, I am very proud to be from Bali. Now, like you rightly mentioned, Bali as a community or as a village has its own challenges. But the one thing that I want to point out is that Bali is a very rich community. Now, if you look just in the metropolis, we have lawyers, we have doctors, we have all types of people in our community, which makes the Bali community very strong. Now, if you look outside of this community, we have ministers, we have a senator, we have justices, we have, the list can go on and on. We have deans in major universities in the country, and we have children who are aspiring to be doctors, who are aspiring to be lawyers. Who knows, one of them could be aspiring to be a president of this country, following what we know right now. Now, that said, does it mean that we don't have challenges? Absolutely not. We still have more work to do to bring our community together. Not saying that we aren't, but when we shift our paradigm and understand that when something happens to one person, it's affecting the entire community, that we rise and fall as one people, and that when someone is crying somewhere, it matters to all of us. We still have more work to do to bridge that gap between us when it comes to certain things in our community. Now, over time, you and I would testify that it's gotten better than what it was before. And over time, we anticipating that people will overcome these differences and break down these walls that exist amongst us, and not, categorize or piggyback on the fact that we have separate ndakums in the area and just build those walls in between us. Those challenges we need to be serious about, and and this is one of the main reasons why we're organizing a weekend like this, so we could forget about those differences that we belong to X Ndakum or Y Ndakum, and just get together in one big room as one big family and have a good time, and so our children can copy from us.
Before we round off our interview or our conversation, just in a few lines, tell Bali people why everybody should take off that date or take off work that day, March 9 and March 10. Why should somebody not go to work that night and come to that big night or the two big nights?
Correct. Look, Bali people, Bani, when was the last time we got together as a family, dressed in black tie and treated like a VIP? This is the one night I'm expecting that you take off work. You've worked all year round, and we want you to come out well-dressed, dressed to impress. Bring your spouse. If you don't have one, make sure you dress well. Look, we're expecting that the hall will be full. Take off work. We have, for those who have children, there's no excuse. We have provided a place where if you can't have a place to keep your kids, you can bring them, and we would take them somewhere not too far away from the hall, and they will be well kept and well taken care of. Now, as far as culture is concerned, we know that at the end of, or typically at the end of the year in Bali, we came out in our numbers regardless of what ndagum we have, and we go to the Lela Plaza and knock ourselves out. Here's one avenue for you for that, to do that. Come out. If you're in Georgia, you feel like being in a traditional mood, come out. And on that day, we would give you the best of your culture. And I can assure you that you will leave Washington, D.C. asking for more. And for those of us here in the Washington, D.C. area, this will be done yearly. But I need you to come out and see what this is going to be all about. Now, before I round up, usually when our children perform well in school, we give them a pat in the back, right? When we have graduations, we gather ourselves and celebrate. Now, this cultural night it's a little bit unique because 2 members of our community have been awarded what I personally call a cultural PhD from the palace in Bali. Now, we as a community want to celebrate this achievement, this award. So, because this event is bringing all Bali people from across the country and especially here together, we decided to celebrate these 2 folks for their achievement, for what they've been awarded, because based on my understanding, they met the criteria for such an award. So we will be giving these folks a red carpet reception on Friday and a strictly cultural, traditional reception on Saturday. I'm calling upon you to come out and celebrate this award, this achievement, because it's all ours. We're going to put these folks to work. So thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing every single person on that March 9th and 10th.
And I want to tell you something. If you have one reason to celebrate, remember that there are people who are no longer around. I mean, people we were around with last year, this time last year, they are no longer living.
Correct.
You are fortunate that you are alive. And this is one more reason for us to come together as Bali people and show the entire Washington, D.C. metropolis who we are, what we are made of. Thank you for watching this interview. My name is Divine Chamukong. Hopefully, we all will meet on March 9 and March 10. Believe me, I've already prepared my black suit and black tie and one of the most sensational dresses, traditional outfits that's now being produced in Bali. I will have it on that day. Thank you again, and goodbye.
Thank you.